Read to your kids. You've heard it all before. Somewhere, someone has told you that you've got to read to your children, right? There might have been teachers, it could have been your parents. You've read it in 1,000 books. All the research tells you all the wonderful benefits of it, right? But they didn't even need to because you knew it already. But I can almost guarantee you that there's something that you're doing right now or that you're going to do in the near future that you need to change. The studies are numerous and they all say the same thing. The older that kids get, the less emphasis we put on reading to them. And the alarming thing that comes out across all of these studies is that only about 33% of kids in the age bracket of 8 to 13 are actually being read to every single day by an adult. Now that's 77% of children that are not being read to in this vital age group. So whether you're a parent or a teacher, I'm not here to tell you to read to your kid because you already know that. But what I am here to tell you is that you have to do it as often as you can for as long as you can. One of my favorite things to do is read to my class. And I especially love to do it by reading some Goosebumps books, the Choose Your Own Adventure one. There's just something special about the horror genre. It's almost a bit twisted. I take a certain pleasure in reading these books to my kids. There's something special about watching them on the edge of their seats and grip each other's shoulders and then sigh when they've survived or then they groan when they die. It's the beauty of letting them choose their own path and empowering them to make their own decisions and have to face the consequences and getting an emotional response out of them while they're actually part of the story. And then I'll introduce them to a little boy named Augie and I'll break down the story as we're reading it. We'll have a look at why they felt all these feelings that a book has made them feel. And they bring their own passion and their own empathy of the story as they start to engage with it more. And they start to analyze and critique the little parts of the story that they haven't necessarily thought about doing before. They start to think deeper and they get critical about the story. And to them, it's not a lesson, it's just a story. They're just enjoying the book. But by about the age of 8, they start to read more independently, which is why there's such a massive drop off of parents and teachers reading to children. But in reality, reading's hard. I mean, think about how many times you've been reading and you flip 2 pages and then you don't even remember what you've read. You've just glazed over it. You've consumed the words, but there was no understanding there. Or think about how many words you have to actually look up or reread to try and work out what the meaning is. And this is the key, right? Reading's like a secret. Some kids can crack the code really, really fast, but others find it so challenging to break down what all those squiggly lines on the page actually mean. And the joy of reading is just lost. And then the relationship with books is torn apart before it's even begun because all they get out of opening this book is a headache. And while kids start to read more fluently at about the age of 8, and they show all the signs of reading, so they're reading quite fluently, they've only just started their journey on comprehension and understanding what those words actually mean. So when we take on the role as a reader and we become the decoder and the one that's reading the words, they actually have a chance to think about the story now. They get to discover the true secret behind the words because they can actually access it now. And it gives us a chance to actually show them what reading is about. It's about stopping and asking questions and making predictions. It's about letting it elicit emotions out of us while we experience the story. It's not just about reading the words on the page. So you explore empathy and compassion from a pig and a spider. You get to learn about the gift of giving and gratitude from a tree. And if you're feeling particularly cruel, you can invite them into a world of imagination and friendship, take them on all these adventures, and then crush them with the turn of a page. And when you do it enough, they start to see the true power of a book. They see what reading can actually be, that it's something more than just reading the words on the page. But I think the best thing about reading aloud is the power that it has to connect. Have you ever been catching a bus or whatever, or you're walking down the street and you see someone reading a book that you absolutely love, and you automatically think, great person, we'd get along. That's why I love recommending books to people. I love giving them my copy of the book and letting them read it and experience it, and then bring them back to have a discussion with them about why they liked it, or even better, why they didn't like it. Then you have that conflict yourselves and you have a discussion about it. And if you haven't experienced it, find someone that's got a massive bookshelf, stand in front of it and just talk. Hear about their experience with each of those books. Ask them questions. If they don't have one, just ask them what their favorite book is and just watch their passion start to flow out of it. It's infectious. You can't help but smile when someone starts to talk about something that they love so much. But I think the absolute superpower of reading aloud to kids is the ability that it has now to help us disconnect. The demand for our attention is just so loud now. The world is so fast. The amount of media and content out there, it's almost impossible to keep up with your Instagram, you've got TikTok, you've got YouTube. Everyone's got 2 to 3 devices in their household now, you name it, they've got it. And it's so easy to access and it eats so much time. And for the most part, it's instant gratification. Reading aloud gives us a chance to put ourselves in a bubble that's just for us, where we can disconnect and reconnect with the people that are the most important to us. But now we have to make time for it. You almost have to schedule it and timetable it and carve out the time in your day that's dedicated for you and your little one, because life it can't become too busy to go on a wild adventure with them. Kids, even us, we're not used to sitting down and engaging with something for 100, 500, 1,000 words until you get a payoff. So let it become the constant, and you might find that one day you don't have to beg them to put their phone down. They'll just do it. especially when they slip into their teenage years and it becomes so hard to maintain that connection. And if you have an avid reader at home, and it doesn't matter what their age, whether they're 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, if they're engaging with the book and actively want to read, awesome, it's a great start. But it hazard a guess that you probably haven't picked up a book and read to them for a very long time, or at least it's not as often as you used to. So now's your chance. Try something that's outside of their reading zone, something that was read to you as a kid and that you've always wanted to introduce them to. Maybe it was something that you've always wanted to read to them, but they've now only just got the capacity to understand it. Now's your chance. Connect and see what happens. And I think inadvertently it does start to shift when kids reach a certain age, that we subconsciously think that they're just too old to be read to. And to be fair, it happens rightly so, because you're not going to read to them forever. But I just want you to keep it in mind that they are never too old to be read to. 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 15, they're not too old, it's still good. We have the power to open up these portals of empathy and compassion and humor and laughter and joy and horror and adventure and excitement and tension. So read aloud to your kids, hold on to that and continue to do it for as long as you can. And if you have stopped, it's understandable, but if you've got that 10-year-old or 11-year-old or 9-year-old at home, take this as an opportunity to start again. Find that book, crack it open, and read to them. Reconnect and spark their imagination and engage their emotions. Build a love of reading and teach them to think deeply about the story while you get to make that bond just a little bit stronger. And the best part of it all is that they won't even know what's happening. They're just enjoying the story and enjoying your company. So I'd love to hear it. What are you reading tonight? What was your favorite thing that was read to you when you were a kid? Or what's the book that you absolutely love to read to your child? Let me know below. Otherwise, like and subscribe for more ways to create a lifelong learner.